baby, right back in to the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Friday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com, baby! All right, big show coming up today, week 11. NFL will be whipping through, touching on a lot of these games. I have 5 totals bets. Went 4-1 last Friday on those. We'll try to replicate that. We'll be talking a little NBA futures, and of course, viewer picks. So let's quit wasting time. Bring in my co-host for the day, a very special guest, former colleague, a friend for life, Gilles Gallant of the Action Network, touchdown specialist. So, Gilles, I wanted to run something by you right off the bat here. As you know, you and I have grown into our late 30s here. We will eventually cross into our 40s, and I wanted to give you a new nickname suggestion. Now, your Twitter handle, you go by GDog5000. I think you might agree once you cross over to your 40s, that might seem a bit juvenile. How about something a little bit more mature, something a little bit more sophisticated? The French Fox.
It's not bad, not bad. With this whole Twitter debacle thing that's been going on, I realized I had to completely revamp my Instagram account. And it actually had a really good username that I was like, you know what, man, I should probably keep that, thinking about going into the 40s. And because it's a dad joke, I was like, Gilles Pickle was a really good one. I thought was actually probably a good alternative instead of a French Fox, maybe.
I like the French Fox. We'll ask any viewers to weigh in on that in the live chat or the comment section. Let us know what you think of the French Fox. You can really lean into the French angle. I know you like doing the bon chance at the end of some of your tweets.
Are we going to do G Fox 5000 or something like that? Or is that what you're thinking?
No, French Fox. It's very sophisticated, very classy. I think that's what you should go with. So we'll ask people to weigh in on that in the comments section. All right, G, Mr. French Fox, a lot to get into here today. I have 5 bets. You have 3 bets. We're going to talk a little NBA. Let's quit wasting time. Let's get right into the action here. My favorite bet for Sunday. It's going down in New Jersey. Detroit Lions intend to take on the Giants. Total 45 points for this one. Give me the under. Let's get right into it. So check out these Giants home games lately. Oh my God, just an avalanche of unders. 15-1-1 to the under, to be exact. Just flying under these totals. 13 of those 17 games failed to cross 40 points. Take a look at the Giants, meanwhile. A bit up and down in terms of their scoring. But they've gone under 7 twice on the road this season already, a 6 and a 0 Dallas and New England. Giants absolutely elite defensively on third down and in the red zone. Second in both categories. Second in opponent third down conversion percentage and opponent red zone touchdown conversion percentage. But on the offensive side of the ball, the Giants, they really lack big play ability. 25th in yards per play. And they're dead last by a wide margin in passing play. Give me the under in New Jersey. Joe, what are you looking at for your first bet of the show here?
Sure, yeah. So, Joe, I'm going to look at the AFC East. Now, we detailed these picks on the Action Network podcast, our Best Bets podcast that we do every week for Thursdays. And we're going to be looking – I've bet this team now 3 weeks in a row outside of their bye. And I'm going to be taking the Patriots minus 3.5 versus the Jets. And mainly because of the line functionality. Immediately you look at this matchup and you think, okay, Patriots were minus 3 as road favorites in New York. Now we're returning to Foxborough and they're 3.5 point favorites. So the line, I think, isn't getting enough respect here. I feel like the Patriots need to be a little bit bigger of a favorite in this spot. Now, there's a lot of trends that could point to a Patriots win in this matchup. First things first, 13 straight wins against the Jets. You know, that dates back to 2015. 9 of those wins by double digits. One of the things I wanted to bring up, too, was that most recent win where they won by 5. They were actually leading by 12 with less than 2 minutes to go. They gave up a garbage touchdown to Tyler Conklin. So I still think that the Patriots, they can get this done very easily. Now, the Patriots are also top 5 in sacks and interceptions. I think that's going to be an issue for Zach Wilson, who has now thrown 7 interceptions in 3 career games versus the Patriots. He's definitely seeing ghosts when he plays them. And the Patriots specialty, running the ball. Jets, they're bottom 3 in touchdowns allowed by running backs, so I think they're going to be able to control the clock that way. But some trends, I think, as well to point out. In the Belichick era, when the total is at 40 or lower, Belichick and the Patriots are 32-10-1 against the spread. That's a 77% clip. And over the last 20 years as well, Belichick, when he gets a lot of time to prepare, 10 days or more, they are 20-13-2 against the spread. So for me, I just look at this spot, looking at Zach Wilson, the fact that 3 of his 5 wins are against backup quarterbacks. And if Mac Jones, as long as he just kind of keeps it clean, doesn't turn the ball over, I don't really see how the Jets cover this. Give me the Patriots minus 3.5 over the Jets this week.
Okay, let's stick in this game, but let's take a look at the total. Pretty low number here, 38.5. I don't think it's low enough. Give me the under for Jets Patriots. Expect a lot of punting in this game. Check out these teams on third down offensively. 21st and 29th. When they played a couple weeks ago, they combined to convert on just 33% of third down attempts. Expect a lot of punting. So these teams defensively through the air have been fantastic. 3rd and 6th in yards allowed per pass attempt. Now you combine that with the fact that both quarterbacks have been pretty underwhelming lately. And they could really be feeling the heat. These teams rank defensively 1st and 4th in pressure percentage. New England is 2nd in sacks. Jets are allowing the 8th most pressure. And it is worth noting that Mac Jones was sacked 6 times in that game a couple weeks ago. Give me the under between Jets and Patriots. G-Dog, what are you looking at next year? A little AFC North battle. What do you got?
Yeah, another divisional rival game. Looking at the Steelers and Bengals game, and it's probably going to be the most bet underdog of the week. I'm taking Steelers +4 over the Bengals here. Now, the Steelers, you saw it last week right against the Saints. They immediately saw the immediate impact that TJ Watt has in this lineup. They had 6 sacks in that game, and in his other game when he played in week 1 against the Bengals, the Steelers had 7 sacks. The reason why I bring that up is the Steelers only have 16 sacks total on the season. That means that in the 2 games that TJ Watt has played, their pass rush has 13 of those 16 sacks. So just to show like how much that offensive lines have to kind of shift and move over to be able to account for him, it's floating all boats. Now the Steelers been pretty sharp versus the run this season. They were able to hold Joe Mixon to, less than 100 yards. The reason why I bring that up, Joe Mixon went nuts last game they played, had 5 touchdowns. But they've been not great against the pass. I think that's actually not going to be as much of an issue because of the fact that Jamar Chase isn't playing. You see how Burrow's passing ability and the timing are just a little bit off without having his star wide receiver. And that sack aspect, Burrow is one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL. He has been sacked 32 times this year. That's 3rd overall in the NFL. And then also, we're getting Mike Tomlin and the Steelers as an underdog here. And a lot of trends point to Mike Tomlin and the Steelers emerging victorious here. As a home underdog, they're 14-8 straight up and 16-3-3 against the spread. That 16-3-3 against the spread mark is the best record for any head coach over the last 20 years. Now, the Steelers as well as a home dog just since 2010, if we want to kind of localize it a little bit more, 14-3-4 against the spread. This year as a home underdog, 2-0-1 against the spread. So for me, there's just too many trends that point to the Steelers being able to win in this kind of matchup as well. So for me, I'm going to take the Steelers +4, taking down the Bengals this week.
Steelers as a dog. All right, you heard it here first from the French Fox himself. Okay, let's keep rolling with these totals here. Started off with a couple unders. How about an over? We got the Bears in Atlanta taking on the Falcons. Total of 49.5. Absolutely love the over in this game, and no need to sugarcoat it for a goddamn second. This is a big fade of 2 dog shit defenses. Check out some of these numbers. 24th and 31st in yards per play allowed. Chicago 27th in the red zone. Atlanta getting killed through the air. They allowed 59 points in 2 games versus the Panthers, for fuck's sakes. What really stands out defensively for these teams, neither can get a stop on third down. 29th and 31st on the season in third down defense. Expect that ball to be moving with each team's ability to run the ball. Check out the Bears here. Chicago lately. Who saw this coming? 29 or more points in 4 straight games. Now, they've allowed 31 or more in 3 straight, with each of those games getting into the 60s. I think this one gets into the 50s. Give me the over. And beautiful. Atlanta. Okay, G-Dog, you're going to wrap things up with a total pick as well for your favorite team, the team on your cap there. What are you looking at for Cowboys-Vikings?
Yeah, I think with these this kind of matchup, a lot of people are going to be trying to talk about letdown spots for the Vikings or, bounce back spots for the Cowboys. Why don't we just take the total and let's go over 47.5, because these are 2 explosive offenses in the NFL, but I don't really think that their defenses have been sharp this year. They've both been kind of getting run over lately. For example, the Vikings, they're bottom 5 in passing yards allowed per game. They're middle of the pack stopping the run. You even saw that against the Bills, giving up 30 points there. But they're 2 explosive offenses. The Vikings at home been pretty sharp this year. No less than 23 points scored in each game. At home. You could technically say, I guess, one home game was in London, but still every game at Minnesota would have went over this total. And the Cowboys are similar in a way that they have strong offense but a vulnerable defense. The Cowboys have given up 60 points over the last 2 weeks. Just to put that in perspective, in the first 7 games of the year, they only allowed 106 points. So they've been kind of getting run over a little bit, especially by both the Packers and the Bears, as you had just mentioned, who did put up 29 against them. Both the Packers and Bears ran for over 200 yards on them. And the Vikings have been fairly solid with the run, especially like you watched Dalvin Cook break out for an 80-yard touchdown against the Bills. I think Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison could combine for over 200 yards in this game. When the total initially opened, I thought it was going to be closer to, over 50. I thought it was going to be maybe even a 51.5 number. But when we're getting 47.5, just below the 48 key number here, I love it. I'm going to take this over here at over 47.5.
Indeed. Okay, yeah. I kind of agree. I think that Vikings defense is bound to get exposed. Some awful numbers for them, but the final scores aren't really showing that. Okay, I'm going to close things out with 2 totals here. A game that nobody is looking forward to. We have the Washington football team in Houston to take on the Texans. This game has a total of 41 points. Give me the under. Of course. Just radical incompetence from each of these offenses here so far this season. Bottom 3rd in the league in yards per play and on 3rd down, plus Houston 31st in the red zone. As a result, the team's ranked 25th and 28th in points per game, both averaging under 20 points per game. Houston hasn't crossed 20 points in 5 straight games now. Check out Washington. Great under team. They've stayed inside of 40 points in 6 of their last 8 games, allowing just 17 points per game over its last 5 games. Give me the under. Beautiful. Houston. Next up, we have the 2 biggest punching bags in the NFL squaring off. Of course, I'm talking about the Raiders and the Broncos. And if I'm betting on the Broncos, I'm taking the under. God damn it. This one total coming in at 41.5. And the Broncos, just a beautiful under team. Let's dig into it. Their game so far this season. Average combined score of just 31.2. 10 fewer points than what the total for this game is. Since the start of last season, the Broncos have gone under in 20 of 26 games. This includes 8 of 9 this season. They are an under-better streak. First in points allowed, last in points scored. Meanwhile, take a look at the Raiders, who hit the off button on their offense. They haven't scored more than 20 in 3 straight games. They're ranked 30th in yards per play in that span. And expect field goal attempts, not touchdowns in this one. These teams are 22nd and 32nd in the red zone this season. Denver, by the way, 31st on 3rd down this season. Give me the under between the Raiders and the Broncos.
Let's roll.
Yeah. All right. There you have it, guys. 8 total picks from the French Fox and me. If you're looking to tail any of these, if you're looking to fade, the choice quite simply is yours. You're a responsible adult who can make your own decision. Either way, I recommend placing your action over at BetMGM. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Kick off your day with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up with BetMGM using bonus code VIBONUS. And your first wager is risk-free. Up to $1,000. That's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces. And your first wager is risk-free. Up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 or older. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks.
Broncos country, let's ride.
All right. Shout out to the Broncos there. Okay, G, you are a fan of the NBA from
Yes.
what I believe you have been a fan of that league for many years now. Let's take a look at the futures odds board here and discuss a couple teams. The favorite right now, as of today, the Milwaukee Bucks 5-1. They're followed by the Boston Celtics. Actually, the co-favorites, I should say. Both of those teams 5-1. The Golden State Warriors, they've dropped to 7-1, followed by the Clippers. You really trust the Clippers? You know, Kawhi's not playing. Played last night, but you know, will he play 50 games this season? I think not.
Well, yeah, last time I came on the show, I said Clippers are going to probably come out of the West, and I don't know if Kawhi is ever going to play. Like, I've seen nicknames already of Kawheelchair, like, you know, being put out there right now. And I honestly just, the team has a lot of depth. I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to get over the hump if Kawhi isn't Kawhi. So, yeah, at this point, I mean, the Clippers, I'm going to stand by what I said, but at the same time, right now, it hasn't looked good so far through the first month of the year.
Yeah, rough. Kawhi and Zion. Each guy missed all of last season. Not a lot of court time for those fellas. The Phoenix Suns, I don't know. Maybe people boarded them a little bit. They're there at 750. The Brooklyn Nets 17-1. Really?
I mean,
dude, can we guarantee Durant and Kyrie are going to be on that team? You know, by the end of the season. Hey man, the Grizzlies there 18-1. The way they fly up and down the court, you gotta like them. 76ers 18-1. Do you trust James Harden and Doc Rivers in a big spot? Absolutely not.
But I trust Joel Embiid. That's the thing, is that's the difference between all those teams that Doc maybe had, or, you know, James Harden when he was in the playoffs, like, you know, the type of, he's just such a matchup nightmare. I mean, we just watched him have like a David Robinson style of performance. Like, he could have had a quadruple double probably in that game. And yeah, I think as long as they have him, I think they're going to be there. I still think though in the East, they are still clearly behind the Bucks and Celtics.
Agreed. Then you got the Mavericks. I don't know if they got the depth. They might have they're going to have the best player on the court for a lot of their games though. The Nuggets, I don't know. The Cavs are kind of fun. You know, we'll see if they can bounce back. They're on a bit of a slide. They have the Charlotte Hornets tonight. No LaMelo Ball in that one. The Cavs favored by 9.5, I think. The Miami Heat, Minnesota Timberwolves. So 3 teams I want to pinpoint. Who should we be most concerned about? The Golden State Warriors, you know, they're 0-8 on the road. People acting like the sky is falling, talking about how they got to make a trade. You know, rumblings of Kevin Durant once again. So they're off to a disappointing start. The 76ers are kind of off to a disappointing start for different reasons. I mean, James Harden's out already. Is Embiid going to hold up for the entirety of the season? They're just 7-7. And then, you know, not a team that anyone considered a championship contender, but a team that a lot of people thought were a team on the rise. And all of a sudden that is halted. I'm talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves, a losing record coming into action here today. And when they made that Rudy Gobert trade, they gave up a king's ransom. I didn't see one person stand up and say, great move for the Timberwolves. They completely messed up
Danny
what
Ainge.
they were doing. Yeah, you're telling me. So out of those 3 teams, who should we be most concerned about?
Definitely the T-Wolves. The Warriors, I don't think as much because, you know, they just had a really bad road trip there where they lost like 5 games straight. Like, obviously the offseason vibes weren't great, you know, coming into the season, but I mean, Steph is balling out of control right now. He's averaging over 31 points per game. I think this team still has what it takes to be able to be successful in the playoffs. Like, you don't want to, like, if they get the 6th seed, you don't want to be the 3 seed playing them in the first round. So I'm not as much worried about the Warriors just because I feel like the West is a little more wide open. The Sixers, I think, and I mean, I just mentioned that as long as they have Embiid, I think they're going to be fine. Third or fourth seed in the East. I think you're probably seeing the Hawks. They'll probably start to see a little bit of a regression as the season goes on. I mean, they've beaten some good teams. They've beaten the Hawks. They've beaten the Suns. And it's just still so early. But like I said, I still got them behind the Bucks and Celtics in the East for now. And then the T-Wolves, I mean, we talked about the fit with Gobert is just awful. Like, your boy, Karl Anthony Clowns, is just completely regressing to a point like where he doesn't have to be the rim protector. He should be able to do whatever he kind of wants offensively, and his points are down. And that whole mixture is kind of stunting the growth of Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards should be averaging closer to 30 points per game. And right now he's around 21.4. It's kind of your turn, my turn, trying to drive into the lane, and then Gobert and Towns are both down there. It's really awful from a basketball geometry standpoint of the way that their lineup is. D'Angelo Russell is probably a bottom 5 point guard in the NBA right now. So, yeah, I think out of those three, the T-Wolves are the biggest concern because I think what everybody thought was may not work during the playoffs. They should probably still win at least 50 games during the regular season. They are not on a 50-game win pace. They're probably going to be, in the play-in at this rate.
Yeah, they absolutely blew it. They blew it. They were a fun team on the rise. How many 130-point games did they have last season? A lot of them. And they were getting to a situation where, I don't think anyone thought of Karl Anthony Towns as a Batman, but he could certainly be the Robin to the Batman of Anthony Edwards. And they completely botched this by bringing Rudy Gobert in. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they bring in like a new team president, a guy from the Nuggets that they brought over, and they gave him a shitload of money and equity in the team? And this is the first big move he makes?
Yeah, it's Tim Connolly. And I mean, the thing is that from a analytics standpoint and from just an overall impact defensively, the numbers were there that Rudy Gobert was a decent trade. It's about what they gave up, and it set the price for all future trades because you saw the DeJounte Murray trade as well, like where these teams are just giving up 3 or 4 first-round picks for a guy that may not necessarily put you over the top. And that was probably the biggest concern, is that Connolly, coming in, probably wanted to make a big splash. And, you're kind of seeing right now that Gobert offensively is still just a shill. Like, he doesn't really do anything offensively for them. And if defensively he's not going to have that impact the way that he was in Utah, he's just a 7-foot French dude. He's another French fox just running around in Minnesota.
He's not worthy of the French fox nickname like you are. I will close with this, and we'll get into talk about the MVP. I still love the Milwaukee Bucks to win the finals. Not really going on the limb by saying that. That was my pick coming in to the season. But they're going out here with this skeleton crew on a lot of nights, and they're still winning games 11-3 on the season. And they're going to get back Chris Middleton here at some point. I'm seeing that Jay Crowder might be on the horizon for them as well. Not that he's a big-time player, but he's a rotation guy in the playoffs. So that's what I think about that. But Trailblazers, first place in the Western Conference. It was nice to see them not just throwing the towel. That's what I'll say about the Trailblazers. They went out and got Grant from the Pistons. It's nice to see Lillard, too. Maybe a bit of a pattern we're seeing. Giannis stays with the small market with the Bucks, and Lillard sticking around in Portland. Now they're paying them a shitload of money to stick around, so it's not like they're making some big sacrifice. But it's nice to see, maybe we're getting out of that super team era a little bit as we're seeing that blow up in the Nets space, and a little bit for the Lakers as well. Okay, let's talk MVP futures here. Top 3 on the odds board. You have Giannis plus 260, Luka plus 260. Each guy absolutely filling it up. The Mavs just above average. I said they're a good team, but I don't think you're going to see them compete for a top 2 seed in the West. Meanwhile, I think incredible value on Jason Tatum here. 7-1. Celtics playing out of their mind right now, and he's filling it up as well. Now, the stats are just a little bit lower than that of Giannis and Luka, but we got a long way to go. So I think if you're looking in terms of value, Jason Tatum I love him there at 7-1. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think at 7-1, it's still a decent price. It was about 10-1 before the season started, so you didn't see a huge movement here. But the reason why 7-1, if you can get that price, is not bad, because I've seen it as low as 4-1. At some spots. So make sure to shop around as well. Even BetMGM has some decent odds for MVP at this point. I think the favorites right now are fine. I think Luka Doncic has to be the favorite. I mean, he's got 3 triple-doubles this year. He leads the NBA in points per game. Writers are basically just waiting to give it to him, but mainly because of the narrative, and you could argue that he has less help than a Jason Tatum or a Giannis. Now, before the season started, I bet on Giannis at 7-1, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. But my long shot was Zion. I thought at 40-1, going to come in, his field goal percentage rate, in the paint is unreal. But again, one of those teams that kind of hasn't really got going yet. He's missed a couple of games. So another long shot then that I wanted to consider, you kind of just brought him up. I think we need to be considering Damian Lillard for MVP at 50-1. Right now sitting at 10-5 in the West, especially from a Western Conference standpoint, that I don't want to say it's regressed. It's just maybe not as strong in recent years. But at this pace and the way that their record is, if the Blazers finish second in the West, he has to be in the running, because they finished 27-55 last year. He played around 20 games. He was hurt most of the time with an abdominal injury. But if they flip that record to 55-27, you can specifically, from a writer standpoint and just statistically, attribute the turnaround just to his presence. And it also helps, he's averaging 27.5 points per game, but he hasn't even really shot the ball well yet. Like, he's shooting around 36% from 3-point, which is still great, but just a little bit lower for his standards. So Damian Lillard at 50-1, especially when you're looking at ways to expand your MVP portfolio, if you've already gotten a couple of guys from preseason bets, if you want to be able to cover all angles right now, Lillard is just playing really well. This team overall is playing well. I think you could contribute it to his presence being back with the Blazers.
Sure, I like that look as well. Sticking around with the home team, I like that from Damian Lillard. It's team jumpers. Hopefully that air is behind us. It was fun for a while, but maybe it got a bit annoying. Okay, guys, if you love what we do here at Vegas Insider, I highly recommend checking out the Vegas Insider app. We've got up-to-date, easy-to-navigate odds for every major sport. We have all our latest shows, best bet videos, and podcasts. Prop trends, features, news, all on the Vegas Insider app. Download the Vegas Insider app right now on Apple and Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app.
Bang! Bang! It's good!
All right, winding right down here, but not before we take a look at some picks from the CTP crew. Quite a few submissions this morning. Didn't get them all in. Check out that thread on my Twitter account, JTFOZ. Always some winners in there, so hopefully we got some winners for tonight and this weekend. Kowloon City, he's looking at Raheem Sanders. He's given us this one before. I got a feeling this one's been hitting a lot. Ole Miss has been torn up all year on the ground. Sanders is one of the best backs in the country, averaging 115 a game. Sanders has cooled off of late as Arkansas has played from behind. Rockets should get 20-plus carries to slow this game down. Yeah, college football player props worth a look. What do we have next here, Tito? The LA Kings. Yeah, I like this one. Only one NHL game tonight. I will be tailing this one. Great value on this one from Nathan Schreckengast. He likes the Kings minus 113. Just beautiful number. So the LA Kings rank 5th in expected goals for percentage, 8th in Corsi, 12th in high danger chances for in 5-on-5 play over the last 10. Vancouver 23rd, 26th, and 14th. Vancouver, all-time horrendous start on the penalty kill. Dead last at 63.8. Wow, that's brutal. Vancouver is simply horrible, as they haven't beaten one team. They beat just one team above 500, Seattle. Yeah, beautiful number on the Kings. Tailing that one from Nathan. What do we have next here? Looks like Virginia Tech, Penn State over 139 from Captain Axe's Locks. Both teams are averaging over 80 points per game. Yes, both are only allowing roughly 65 points per game, but each have played some Shanky mid-major teams. I think shaky maybe. Anyway, yesterday both teams shot over 40% from 3 and had less than 10 turnovers. Back and forth game is expected. Possibility of overtime. Yeah, you got to love overtime if you're an over better. Let's keep rolling here. Celtics -2.5. I like this one too. It looks so obvious, but they look so obvious versus the Hawks the other night. They blew them out of the water. So yeah, Celtics have won 8 in a row. Zion is questionable with a bad ankle. Hey, what else is new? Zion is questionable to play. Celtics 4-1 ATS in their last 5. Hashtag chasing that paper. Yeah, Celtics over the past 2 weeks, I would say the best team in the NBA. So yeah, take them there to win by a 3-pointer. I know I will. And we'll wrap things up here, I think, with... oh boy, this guy looks like a real asshole. Okay, Steph Curry. This is a submission from me. Steph Curry, 40 or more points, plus 550. Let's have some fun, Gilles. I know you like these type of bets. He's dropped 40 or more in 3 of his last 5 and has a great matchup tonight versus the Knicks, who are allowing the second most threes per game. I'm in a bit of a hole in the NBA. I think I'm down almost 6 units on the season. So, yeah, if I hit this, I can get a lot closer to even. What do you think of my chances of hitting that one?
I mean, I don't hate it. I definitely think that Steph, I mean, he's leading the NBA. He's averaging over 30 points per game. So I don't think it's unreasonable. But at the same time, you know, if you wanted to take the over on his points total, if you can get it at the -110 line, I think it's around 30 and a half, maybe. Maybe consider that as well, just as a safer pick. But at the same time, if you want to take a little bit of a ladder, you know, to be able to go up, because the only way that he's going to get to those 40 points is he's going to hit a ton of 3-pointers. So you could maybe get a little bit of ladder potential with that too.
Yeah, remember the Knicks used to be a good defensive team under Tom Thibodeau. Not lately.
No.
They've been god-awful.
Not anymore.
Yeah, okay, guys. It is now time for today's Handicapper Heat Check presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today, we recognize college sports expert Bill Marzano. Bill hit his 2 college picks last night, extending his win streak to 6-0 in the last 4 days in college hoops. He's also 4-0 in college football this week. Save $10 on Bill's Friday Night College Hoops picks or Saturday's college football package by clicking on the link in the description below. The discount will be applied during checkout. That's your Handicapper Heat Check. Stay hot, betters. Yeah.
Broncos country,
Good luck.
let's ride.
All right. Good luck to Bill with his best bets. So winding right down here, G-Dog, but I know you got a lot going on at the Action Network. You already probably have a lot up on the site, and you have a lot to come. Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So, of course, we're always doing Action Network podcasts. So I got the Best Bets podcast that just went up this morning. And then we've got the recap podcast that we'll do Sunday night after all the games are played. Sunday during the day, I host a show called The Touchdown Show, which is part of the Action Network Power Hour. That'll air around 11:30 a.m. Eastern, right after Convince Me. And then, of course, I'm going to have more touchdown picks for Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. And then, of course, Thanksgiving coming up next week. We're going to have special shows specifically for Thanksgiving games. And then, of course, for the Sunday games. So you can follow me on Twitter at GDog5000 while the Twitter still exists. Or you could follow me on the Action Network app and download the Action Network and track all your bets there.
Absolutely, yeah. Lots of great content going on from Gilles and the guys over at the Action Network. So be sure you check that out. Make sure you check out what's going on over here at Vegas Insider as well. Give us a follow on Twitter, of course, and make sure if you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that like button, hit the sub button. We got a lot going on over here. Best bets for the NFL primetime games, of course. Standalone videos for those. My 30 seconds or less video, where I make picks for every game Sunday, is up right now. And Kevin Rogers weighing in with best bet videos for the big games in college football this weekend. So there you have it. In and out of your life in about 32 minutes here, G-Dog. We thank you very much for coming on. We hope to have you back on here at some point, at least before Christmas. Good luck to your Cowboys this weekend. I took them minus 1.5 points, by the way. So thank you to everybody for watching. good luck with your bets tonight. Good luck with your bets this weekend, unless you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Woo!